Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined now by Chris51. He is a tattoo, I was going to say artist, but I'll say genius. If you look on his website, chris51.com, you'll see all the cool tattoos he's done. He is a published author, poetry books, children's books, baseball history books. There's nothing the guy doesn't do. He created his own formula of ink, Formula 51. He's also the co-creator and star of Epic Ink on A&E. Chris, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. We met up last year at Wizard World, and we talked about doing an interview. It's just your schedule, my schedule, but now you're coming back. So you must have really enjoyed St. Louis last time.
You know, I did. I mean, I loved the town. I did the whole tourist thing. I went up in the arch. I ate all the good barbecue. I did everything. And then there's Wizard World, of course, which I'll do a Wizard World in any town because they're the most fun thing ever. I just go to geek out and stuff. So I don't really consider it work. You know, I just kind of go and have fun and be a big geek.
And that's half the fun of it, is just enjoying, it's never work if you enjoy it, right?
That's right.
Now, tell me about the Formula 51 ink. How did that come about? How did you create your own brand of ink?
Well, I sold that company, but when I created it, I basically did it because I was kind of sick and tired of all the ink companies out there with, we're artists. And all these names were like lime green, baby blue, and I was like, come on, we're artists, guys. Let's get more creative than that. So why call it baby blue when you could call it like Smurf skin or, you know what I mean? So, and of course I'm a geek, so I went after the kind of the comedic influence and the geekery of the whole thing, and I marketed it a different way, and at the time it blew up to be one of the biggest ink companies in the world. And like I said, I've since sold it and everything and focused my attention on the TV show and other things I'm doing now. But I had a lot of fun with that. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun, and it definitely threw a monkey wrench into the system, and shook up the status quo. And not a lot of the traditional older artists really appreciated it, but I could give a rat's ass about that anyway. So
Right. And so, speaking of the TV show, Epic Ink, where are we looking on another season of that's upcoming?
We haven't been renewed for another season yet. It is airing all over the world. Mm-hmm. It's in Brazil right now, and all over South America and Australia and everything. So that's cool. It's still living on and still going. But as far as the second season, we haven't heard. I think they've kind of had a change of personnel, and I don't know if they're doing more tattoo shows, which would be a shame because they got really good ratings and got a really good fan base. But I never sleep and I never quit, so I got a few other shows out there with different networks being looked at right now, so we're not done yet, for sure.
Good, that's good to hear. And obviously, you're pretty busy anyway. You also write monthly columns for, I think, 3 different tattoo magazines?
I did, yeah. I've put some of those things on hold. I wrote for 3 different magazines. Right now I'm currently working on 2 different books. I love to write, too. It's another passion of mine. It's kind of an art form in itself,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I created this tour called the Geekster Ink Legends Tour, which is basically all the legends of geeky tattoo ink, of geeky tattoos. So we travel and we do all the Wizard Worlds, and there's, between a dozen and 2 dozen of us, depending upon the size of the city or size of the show. And I hand-selected these artists that were, acquaintances of mine and my peers that were the best at geeky tattoos. So when you come to a Wizard World and you get a tattoo at our pavilion, you know that you're getting the best of the best, and guys that, if you ask for a TARDIS, you're getting a fan that watches Doctor Who and knows 11 of the Doctors, and, whatever the case may be, they know it. They're not just someone that's looking up on Google to see what the hell a TARDIS is. So it's pretty cool and exciting to be surrounded by such talent and, such fans that are so passionate of the genre, just as much as the cosplayers and everyone that's there wanting to get it,
And I know the last Wizard World, your booth was constantly hopping. Are you taking, if people want to get tattoos at this upcoming one, do they need to reserve a space ahead of time? Do you take walk-ups?
Yeah, like I said, I have, a dozen or 2 dozen artists, so there are artists with space. I think I'm booked up for most of the Wizard Worlds the rest of this year. I think I got about 15 of them, and I'm booked for about 13 of them already. So it's a lot of fun. But there is definitely guys that are there, half the guys are booked and half booked, and then there's guys that are there, local guys and just guys ready to go. So it's you get a little bit of everything. It's really cool, but it has become kind of an attraction and kind of a spectacle, like you said. It is packed and people watch. And the cool thing is now we got the other celebrities involved. Like I tattooed Jason David Frank. I've tattooed Katie Cassidy, from Arrow and the Green Power Ranger, and Lou Ferrigno is a friend of ours. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and they just want to see what's going on. They're a fan of the art. So they come check out, hey, what are you doing? And they like to see if we're doing any likenesses of their characters and stuff like that. So you never really know who's going to drop by and what's going on, what kind of shenanigans are going on in there,
Yeah, I think Bruce Campbell, actually, from what I saw, spent more time at your booth than he did at his own last time.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time in there. He's a cool dude, I tell you.
Absolutely. I saw online, too, pictures of your parlor. Again, if any of you want to go check him out, Chris51, that's Chris, the number 51.com. It's like a man cave. I want to go live in your tattoo parlor with all the Simpsons figures, and you got the video games.
I know, that's why I never leave here, dude. Yeah, what the wife doesn't allow at home, we put in the shop, that goes for the whole crew here. So it's definitely like 5 or 6 little man caves combined into one big one, so it's pretty fun.
That looks like a lot of fun. I saw one of the tattoos in your gallery, too. You had, I guess it's a recent one maybe, where they had the BB-8 teapot pouring into the R2-D2 saucer. Do you come up with these or suggest them, or the people come in and say, hey, this is what I want?
No, you know what? That one, that was my wife's idea, and that's actually on my wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's way smarter than me, dude.
The women usually are, yeah.
But that was her idea, to have a BB-8 teapot, and I was like, oh, let's do R2's head turned upside down. So I can take a little credit, maybe like 20% of that geniusness there. But, yeah, people come up with some crazy ideas, and then it's our job to, see if it is actually feasible and going to work on skin, or maybe take their idea and run with it and come up with something a little crazier even, and more unique. That's kind of our job, Anyone can pull up an image off Google or something like that and replicate it, but we want to take it a step further than that, and try and make it something custom and unique that we've never done before or never seen before.
Sure, exactly. And that's kind of what makes you guys so cool. Is I know some of the stuff, I follow you on Instagram too, and some of the stuff it looks like the artist, like you had Neil Adams come in and draw the design for you. How do you guys do that kind of detail, and it's so representative of the actual artist's style?
Oh, I appreciate that, man. It's it's just experience. It's a lot of hard work and long hours and decades of tattooing, and it takes a long time to get to that point. And it's just patience and experience is what it boils down to. And then, like I said, also like a passion for the genre. You do so many Batman symbols and Batman tattoos and Joker faces, and you read the comics, you watch the movies, and it becomes second nature. So
right.
You know exactly what you're doing. You don't have to think about the design. You get to focus on the creative aspect of it, and how I'm going to try some different color blendings and saturations and shadowing and that kind of stuff. And I think maybe that helps set it apart from the standard.
That's true, too. Yeah, and some of it really does look 3D. There was an Optimus Prime one that looks like he's actually jumping right off the arm or the leg, whatever it was that you tattooed. Is that part of the special ink you guys use, or, again, just the shadowing and the detail you put into it?
Yeah, it's just all about what you put into it, for sure. I mean, I've always said that it doesn't really matter what kind of supplies you use or equipment you use. It's all in the artist himself and the design itself.
Absolutely. And I know. Let me ask you, what's the weirdest tattoo you've ever had someone ask you to do?
Oh man, I've done it all. Like, that's such a tough question. It's funny because in my job, being kind of a known geek artist, all I do is weird. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like a normal tattoo shop or tattoo artist, they do your standard flowers and panthers and daggers and whatever the case may be. But they would look at me and probably think that I'm the weird one because I'm doing R2-D2 teapots and
right.
Transformers popping out of skin, that kind of thing. So I think pretty much everything I do in other people's eyes is weird, but for me, that's just normal everyday stuff. So.
Gotcha. And I saw on Instagram also you're doing a Hard Rock Cafe exclusive live in-store signing that weekend that you're in town for Wizard World on April 2nd. And the proceeds going to Make-A-Wish charity. Is that something that people can reserve ahead of time? Do they have to have a VIP Wizard World badge to get in?
No, that's just me and Hard Rock. I'm really excited about this. I did a Wizard World press party at Hard Rock last year, and me and Christian Kane, who is from the TV show Leverage and The Librarians and stuff, he's a good friend of mine. Him and I did this Q&A, and he played some live music and stuff like that. And I really got to know the staff at Hard Rock, and we honestly just made friends. And they contacted me a couple months ago and said, listen, we'd love for you to come back and actually do some artwork for us if you'd like. And I was like, I'd be honored to. And I was like, let's take it a step further. Let's do some artwork for charity and really, make this thing count. And so we kind of went from there. And it's nice to have a major, probably the biggest restaurant chain in the world commissioning you to do artwork is pretty mind-boggling in itself. So I'm honored to do it, and I'm excited. It's going to be a print limited to 100. It's like really geeky. It's kind of if you could take geekiness and wrap it up and mix it up with music, that's what you're going to get. Kind of a Simpsons stylized type tribute to some music legends we lost this year. And 100% of the proceeds go to local, it stays locally and goes to Missouri Make-A-Wish Foundation. So pretty excited about that.
That's incredibly awesome. Yeah, I know you were at the. I actually met you that first time. Was at that Wizard World launch party, and the Hard Rock people. I heard the management staff saying, "We need to do this more often." You and Christian Kane were fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to be signing every print. The print's only $25, 100 prints, so $2,500 will go right there to the community. And I will be signing that Saturday night from I think 7:30 to 8:30, Saturday night, April 2nd.
Very neat. Now, as well, I've got you, and since you are such a geek, I'm going to talk a little geek stuff with you. With the upcoming Batman versus Superman, who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for Marvel.
So you're not really a DC guy per se?
I'm not really a DC guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Guardians of the Galaxy #2, man.
That's gonna be so cool.
No, I mean I love everything geeky I do, so of course I'll be there opening night and stuff. And I'm gonna pull for Superman because I've always had this argument where and people argue with me because oh my God for this they hate me when I say this, but I don't consider Batman any kind of superhero whatsoever. I consider him
this interview's
a
over.
Rich boy.
This interview's over, sir. I can't believe you just said that.
I can't stand Batman. I mean, I can't. I'm sorry, but he's anyone with that kind of money and motivation and a butler to train him and feed him could do what he does. And you can't battle Superman. He's a Superman. Batman is a man. Superman is a Superman. He's an alien.
I always argued that's what I love. Batman's my favorite guy. I love him because he is literally the epitome of what any person, with granted a lot of money, could do if they applied themselves. So that's one of the reasons the argument you're making against is the argument I always make for. That's very interesting.
No, that's cool though. See, that's why us geeks got to stick together.
Exactly.
If this is the biggest thing that we have to argue about, we're doing pretty damn good. We
need to start on the world hunger crisis next and just solve stuff like this. What about since you are a Marvel guy? Then are you Team Cap or Team Iron Man in the upcoming Civil War?
I always thought Captain was like too much of a goody-goody. I kind of liked how Iron Man was kind of rebellious and stuff, but it seems to me like in this one. Captain kind of goes with his gut feeling, to help out Bucky, and he's kind of going against the grain and following his heart. So I'm pulling for Captain in this one, man.
All right, we're on the same side there at least. That's good to know. And what of the Marvel genre now? All the movies coming up. Is there one other than Civil War you're most excited? Is it Guardians of the Galaxy you said, or Doctor Strange?
Guardians of the Galaxy to me was the best comic book adaptation to a movie I've ever seen in my life. I can't watch it enough. That to me turned the corner, and then you had stuff like Ant-Man and Deadpool, which are just improving upon that even. So
yeah, Deadpool was so awesome.
Oh, Deadpool was so good. I mean, I love Ryan Reynolds, and I thought even though he might cheese it up a little bit, but he is so good. So I'm counting the days to these kinds of sequels like to Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's a good time to be a geek. I mean, with all this stuff, are you digging the TV shows? Have you been watching Daredevil?
I haven't really gotten into Daredevil, but I love Gotham. Oh my God, I love Gotham, and I've tattooed Aaron Richards on Gotham.
Oh,
there.
nice.
Yeah, and my wife is completely infatuated with Robin Lord Taylor, the Penguin. She actually got his autograph at a con, and I tattooed his autograph while he was watching.
Wow.
And
I think I saw that. Yeah.
He signed her ankle with a Sharpie, and his hand was shaking because he said it was the first time he'd ever knew that his autograph was getting tattooed. So it was cool, and they've actually become friends since then. So yeah, I've got a personal connection to that show, so I just absolutely love it. I think the casting is great, the acting is great, and I love seeing how these villains are developing and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, so you're current on it. I don't want to ruin the show if you're not current. I take it you've kept up with it?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that origin for Mr. Freeze, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was so good, dude. I love it.
Yeah, I think all the TV stuff, and again, this, like I said, it's a great time to be a geek with all these TV shows that are out. They got the movies coming out, and I got to expect that because of all this, business is even better for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You know, we never, even back in the day, you're always tattooing Superman, Batman, the Hulk, Star Wars, that kind of stuff. But now it's cool because now we're doing the Flash and Green Arrow and Daredevil and these more obscure, well, they were obscure, you know. They're not anymore, but you never saw these kinds of tattoos 5-10 years ago.
Right.
And now they're very prevalent, and it's really awesome to change it up a little bit. It's cool.
And if you want to see some very impressive tattoo art, check him out online, Chris51. That's Chris, the number 51.com. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again at Wizard World, sir.
I can't wait, buddy. I'm counting the days.
Thank you so much for being part of the show, and we'll see you in April.
You're welcome, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.